I'm going to take you behind the scenes to hear from two wonderful product management executives that I work with all the time to talk about our responsive selling solution. So please help me welcome my first guest, Kamyar Sirajfar, Vice President of Product Management for CX Sales. Hey, Kamyar, am I catching you between one of your many Zoom meetings these days?
Oh yeah, they're endless. But today's been actually very good since we're all active recording these sessions, listening to Rob and Larry, and it's been a much needed break from the endless meetings.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely hasn't been a typical day. It's been so great chatting with customers. But what day is typical these days anyway? By the way, what are you doing these days to break up the Zoomies, as I call them, the endless Zoom calls?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Whatever I'm doing is definitely not working. So I was actually hoping you can give me some tips.
Oh man. Okay, let me see if I can give you some value. So, I've just started using the phone more for one-on-one conversations. I go outside, take a nice walk, get some vitamin D. It seems to be working. So there you go. How's that?
Sounds good. I'm gonna have to try that too.
Awesome. So, hey, Kamyar, your team is laser focused on the sales organization and really helping businesses accelerate the time to revenue. I don't know if you heard the session from Rico. Sounds like you did. We shared some new research from the Beagle Research Group. And I wanted to share one piece with you, which said that 90% of sellers complained that their job takes longer than it should. So let's talk about that. What are some core challenges with traditional CRM, and how are sellers working through them?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically validating what we've all thought, right? That CRM today is all about data entry. And what we're doing on the product management side is improving our software, our automation, so that the reps actually get more out of the CRM that they're asked to put into it with all the data entry and the processes that are imposed on them.
Yeah, Kamyar, sales has never been easy. I actually think it's one of the hardest jobs in a company. Lots of mental toughness and endurance. But on a positive note, I was just talking to Sam, and she had some amazing things to say about you and your team and how we work with design partners like Rico. I know you're always putting customers first. So tell us how you work with customers and leverage the feedback they give us.
Yeah, Sam's stories are wonderful, and I'm glad we had an opportunity to invite her to the forum so that she can share it with everyone. You and I just recently were part of our customer advisory board meetings, our CABs, and that's where we get to talk to more customers, and they tell us about all their challenges, and especially with 2020 and COVID-19, the shelter in place has really disrupted the sales organization. So when we talk to them, one of the things that we keep hearing from them is they're really looking at running their business more prescriptively using leading indicators as opposed to traditionally where lots of data entry, run a bunch of reports, and then look at your lagging indicators to see if you did the right thing or not. So that's the one thing, remember, we heard from all the CAB members, and that's why it's so important to continue to talk to customers, because things change so rapidly that we can't even think about some of the challenges in advance. But that's why we have to stay connected to customers.
Yeah, on that note, I mean, 2020 has really shaken things up, and you're focused on a broad section of the sales organization. So have you had to make any adjustments this year in your own plans?
We have, obviously, but we also were fortunate in that one of the major initiatives that we started with Redwood Design and the things that you covered with Rico and Sam was that we started focusing on building our applications for specific sales personas to really improve their capabilities and make their lives easier. And we picked the inside sales rep about a year ago as one to focus on. And as it turned out, now a lot of people can leverage the thinking and the tools that we built in the software for that. So we're able to actually be more broad with that solution for our customers.
Yeah, that's great. And just to turn back to a second to that research, it made me think of one of the comments one of the biggest takeaways, I guess, for me was that sellers wish they had superpowers like, having perfect memory or knowing their prospects' moods. Superpowers are great, but it sounds like the main challengers are with more mundane things like data entry. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are you doing specifically to just make the day-to-day relationship with sales automation easier?
Yeah, so what we're finding, and there's been a number of research studies done, and we've all used it in different presentations and different conversations. What we're finding is that um, the sales teams are using 5, 6, 7, 8 different tools to do their job. And so when we looked at that and we looked at which ones they are using most often, we decided that we want to bring the CRM to where they are, just to cut out one more step, just to cut out one more swivel chair that we're asking our sales teams to do. So our focus has been bringing the CRM to the sales reps, whether it's through the work that we've done with our digital assistant, bringing not only the CRM to where the reps are, let's say in Microsoft Teams, in the mobile app, but also make it easier for them to use it. Having the assistant actually look for information, update information. Again, it's all about making their lives easier and making the system useful for them.
I'm just laughing to myself a little bit because I'm thinking about one gem that was in the report, and came here. 11% of sellers seem to have figured out how to work in the shower. So kudos to them. I wonder if they've even figured out how to cook in the shower. Like, you remember Kramer, the Seinfeld episode? Anyway, I digress. But seems like there's a lot of work-life integration going on there. A very hot topic these days. So Kamyar, our studio audience is dying to know.
What are we doing to support them in the shower?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
Read my mind.
we got lucky there because a lot of the new smartphones are actually waterproof. So I'm not advocating that people work in the shower. I think it's good to take breaks. We were talking about the endless meetings, but look, we focused a lot on our mobile device. We actually have a brand new app in the App Store that's using our new Redwood design principles, user experience principles. And, everyone seems to think that, with the shelter in place rules that people aren't mobile anymore. And, some of our competitors have actually, really maybe paused working on their mobile apps. We actually believe that we can rescue the sales team from the endless meetings and being tethered to their desks by giving them the ability to, walk around and do their work. And, if they choose to, be in the shower as they're doing their work.
Let's not take it too far, but I hear you. Yeah. So it sounds like you guys are really hitting some key concerns right on the head between reducing the amount of manual input needed, automation, working from anywhere. Sellers are moving around all the time, but the biggest hurdle still seems to be data. Bad data, according to our research, shows that it leads sellers to a lot of embarrassing situations, from using the wrong name or gender, or not understanding what the prospects own or need. Is this one fixable? Is data seems like such a big challenge.
It definitely is fixable. And I'm really proud of the fact that at Oracle, we're one of the few, if not the only CRM provider that actually has master data management for your most important CRM record, which is your customers. So we have our CDM product, which is a set of services and features, customer data management. Part of the benefits of our architecture is that for us, the customer record is shared actually across the entire suite of the application. So from when you're working with them as a prospect in marketing, to when they become sales accounts and sales, as you're still nurturing that deal, to when you sell them, they become your customers and your financials, and then service, and everyone else is touching that record. And at every given point in time, your organization is working with this information, making sure it's accurate, bringing everyone together to make sure that this information is accurate. So unlike other systems where you close the opportunity, that account sits there for years, nobody touches it, or months, depending on your business cycle, and then when you go back to try to work with it, hey, is any of this accurate? And so our master data management philosophy has really helped us make sure that our customers are working with the golden master.
Amazing. I'm a true believer that the best CX CRM data for the front office, a lot of it should come from the back office. And so that's amazing to hear that we're pulling all of that in. And I'm also thinking back to part of my conversation with Sam. We talked a lot about the new digital sales application we're releasing next year, and she just loves it. And because it brings everything we've discussed together into one application: automation, prescriptive journeys, intelligent AI-driven recommendations. I'm seeing a new path, a new philosophy here. Can you talk about what the new transformational approach is here that I'm seeing?
Absolutely. So the new philosophy is all the things we just talked about, right? Data accuracy, data enrichment, ease of use, and then how do we bring it all together? What are the things we need to do in the application to bring that great experience to the users? And the thing that we decided to do a couple of years ago is, as we go along this journey, we're going to build and give features to our customers so that they can start using it now, as opposed to a big bang approach where we go in this corner, we work on a bunch of stuff, and then we tell the customers, hey, figure out how you're going to get here. We've seen that movie before. We decided that that's not going to be how we do it. And so what we did is, as we innovate and build the underpinnings for this new user experience that we refer to as Redwood Experience, we're releasing some of those features to our customers so they can benefit from it in a progressive fashion as we get, the pyramid to end up at the top, which is where we want to be. So things like our adaptive search, where it just makes it so easy for customers to look for information, whether they're using Workspace in our desktop application or in our new mobile app. It just makes that experience so fast, because you can just go into your mobile app and say, hey, I'm looking for this opportunity, and just we bring it back to you, or contacts or accounts that we were just talking about. So the philosophy is do this, make it an evolution, be progressive in the way you turn this over to customers so everyone can benefit along the way, and don't have a big bang approach.
I love that. And it makes it so much easier to adopt everything incrementally versus having to do it all at once. So to me, it sounds like you and your team are well on the way to giving sales professionals the superpowers they've been waiting for. So I'm going to keep looking out for that shower feature in the next couple of releases. But Kamyar, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure I'll catch you later this week.
Sounds good, Katrina. Thanks for having me, and have fun chatting with Ian. Ian, hi. Talk to you later.
Okay, guys, we just learned about how Oracle can help direct sales teams do their jobs more successfully and with more satisfaction. But there's a huge second piece to our responsive selling strategy: online sales. This is a hugely accelerating part of every business in 2020. So let's chat a little bit about how to take advantage of it. Please help me give a warm welcome to my next guest, Ian Davis, Vice President of Product Management for CX Commerce. Hey, Ian, welcome.
Hey, Katrina, how you doing there?
I'm great. I was just chatting with Kamyar. Did you get a chance to catch any of that?
I saw some of that, yeah. They're doing some great things over there, really challenging how the kind of solutions and applications that we're putting in front of direct sales teams these days. It's great stuff.
Yeah, they're solving some big challenges with traditional CRM. It's great to see. By the way, I see you in a new spot today, or you're not at your usual desk. Are you getting a little fatigued sitting in the same spot all day?
Well, as you know, I've been working at home for about 15 years, Katrina, so I'm well versed in the whole Zoom conference.
You're a pro.
One thing I've learned is you've got to get up away from your desk and walk around, and even if it means going outside, walk around the garden for a bit. It's the only way you're going to stay sane, but you've got to stay off the cookies, stay away from the cookies when you're working from home.
Oh boy, those cookies. Yeah, tell me about it. I just recently logged into my Fitness Pal again just to make sure I'm keeping ruthless track of that calorie intake. That sneaks up on you. But you know what? While we're on that topic, speaking of logging into things, our lives are so digital first these days. My husband and I have gone all in with everything touchless, digital shopping, groceries, online fitness, wine, a little bit too much wine, maybe. But according to McKinsey, actually, we're not the only ones. E-commerce in the early pandemic actually replaced physical channels in just 3 months. They did the math, and that's 10 years of growth in just 90 days. So what are you seeing there? What that's working with our customers? How are they able to handle around the clock volumes like that?
We absolutely saw the same phenomenon, Katrina. And as I say, the pandemic that started a few months ago, and to a certain extent we're still in the middle of, saw business models change very quickly, and a lot of our commerce customers that maybe had a significant revenue stream through their physical stores, all of that business moved online, and so without their e-commerce, they were really without a revenue stream altogether. So they were forced to with the challenge of handling huge spikes in traffic, very unpredictable kind of volumes that they perhaps in many cases ever planned for. And for example, you mentioned your wine. I hope it wasn't you, but we saw ABC Fine Wines, a customer of ours for CX Commerce, and they actually saw in the early stages of the pandemic a 2,000% increase above their normal working figures. So huge spikes.
Yeah, 2,000% wine increase. That I promise you, that was not just us. It was probably a significant percentage, but not the whole thing. But all joking aside, 2020 has really shown us that in the blink of an eye, every online business needs to be ready to pivot and to take on high traffic volumes like they only used to maybe during certain parts of the year. But I know your team is working really closely with the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure team to make sure that we can keep pace. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we're now running commerce on the Gen 2 Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So straight away, we get the benefits of improved performance, improved security, all of the great things that we already know about the OCI platform. But one additional step that we've taken for commerce is to, as we listen to the market, we understand the needs of the e-commerce businesses these days, we've taken an extra step to implement a high availability architecture. So for each of our commerce customers, we actually run their applications in more than one data center. So in the event that even one data center goes down, the application is going to keep running. The data centers that are still running the application are going to serve all the traffic that comes. So that high availability in e-commerce is of huge importance.
Yeah, it sounds like you've built a really strong backbone to be able to really handle all the exponential growth and exponential opportunity our customers are seeing. So that's amazing. So to pivot to a different topic, it's not just the average Joe and Jane like me and my husband buying more and more wine online. Digital Commerce 360 actually is saying that more than 50% of B2B sales will be e-commerce based by the end of this year. So is this an important market for you? I'm guessing probably yes.
It absolutely is, Katrina. I think you have already heard from Motorola Solutions and Heister Yale today. They're two of our great customers. But the pattern is the same. We're seeing a lot of B2B manufacturers who, in many cases, were already in the middle of a digital transformation initiative. And certainly the pandemic has in many ways accelerated the work they were doing. And at the same time made them challenge their business models perhaps a little bit more than they'd initially had thought of. So we've seen certainly a lot of manufacturers who not only doing digital transformation to get smarter about their existing channels to market, but in many cases, manufacturers that have out of necessity have had to go to direct to consumer as well as part of their channel mix. And so we've been helping with customers to do that kind of challenge as well. Good example is Zebra Technologies, a customer of ours who does B2B sales with their barcode scanning devices, but also selling subscriptions directly to the end users of the customers as well. So really, really challenging the channel mix that they're using to get their products and services to market.
That's incredible. It sounds like we've made a lot of complexity pretty simple. But that's one of the biggest hurdles I think that we hear from a lot of our B2B customers and prospects is that, how do you handle all my complex goods and all the unique combinations of materials that I offer to my customers with all the special contract pricing and warranties, all these complicated things for B2Bs, just to name a few. So what are we doing there to make the complexity a little more simple?
No, you're spot on. I mean, years ago, manufacturers were very reticent about translating their business to online sales because of the nature of the complex products and services that they have. They just thought there's no way it's going to translate. But with improvements in commerce, in configure, price, and quote technologies, and guided selling techniques, and also now the introduction of AR and VR into the buying experience, what we're seeing is even businesses with the most complex of products and services that often get sold together into very complex bill of materials, the tools are now available to them to be able to take those products and services and actually be very successful with selling them online as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned augmented reality, which makes me think that for B2B commerce, online purchasing is not just buying something online anymore. It sounds like a relationship, an experience. I know you're really rethinking that engagement funnel between online and offline. So tell me a little bit about that. How are you thinking across the entire spectrum of the relationship?
Yeah, we're just basically following our customers' lead. One pattern we've seen for a lot of our B2B commerce customers is by the time they finish their commerce projects, what you look at what they've delivered is not just the purchasing part of the relationship, but they've unlocked a whole load of other information and self-service tools that might be dipping into data, information, insights that come out of their ERP or supply chain management applications and service applications, and so a whole load of other things that are going way beyond just purchasing, but they really want to make those things available to their customers and make them as self-sufficient as possible. That's really the key.
Yeah, I want to dig in there a little bit. You talked about data, and Kamyar and I talked about that just recently about how CX Sales is leveraging all that golden back office data and leveraging it for their AI algorithms and automation just to deliver more intelligent experiences for sellers. How are you doing that same thing for intelligent online experiences for buyers?
Yeah, so for AI, we've clearly been using AI in commerce for many, many years. We're all very familiar with intelligent product recommendations and personalized search. But with AI, I mean, the algorithms are great, but it's only as good as the data that gets fed with it. And so you will have heard Larry and Rob talk earlier today about Unity, our new customer intelligence platform, and that creates a great opportunity for us in commerce because there's a new gold mine for us to tap into of data that can feed the AI algorithms and really make them really, really smart. And it also means that traditionally, the data that we collect in commerce has become the only data source for it, but bringing the data source that's available to the AI engine to be truly omni-channel is really, really unlocking some interesting possibilities for how AI can be applied for commerce.
Yeah, you've basically confirmed a suspicion of mine, which I believe that the best CRM data for purchasing and sales and commerce, drives in from the back office. So that's amazing to hear. Okay, so one last curveball for you. We heard from Motorola Solutions today, and they're leveraging our entire responsive selling solution, commerce, CPQ, sales, and most recently they went live with subscription management, which is a curious thing for me because when I think subscription, I think Netflix, Stitch Fix, more consumer-based applications. Are you seeing the same subscription model shift in B2B businesses as well?
We really are. I mean, you're touching on an area that really only Oracle can deliver on. In our area, what we're doing is really combining commerce and CPQ applications with subscriptions management into this proposition we call responsive selling that you're familiar with. And it really is, again, following what we're seeing in the market. We're seeing such an uplift and interest in subscription management and subscription services, not only in B2C, but in many cases B2B, where, again, adding to those complex products and services that they may have had for many, many years, they're now looking for ways where they can add on subscription and recurring revenue models onto those as well. And really what we're trying to do with commerce and CPQ and subscriptions is to offer our customers the widest range of transaction types and business models that they need to fulfill their business online. And also, obviously, working with Kamyar and his team, the omni-channel aspect is really important as well, because we're a firm believer that digital sales through the online channels have really got to be in harmony with the direct sales teams as well and their applications. There's got to be complete visibility, transparency to unlock the flows and processes that go between the sales teams, but also to unlock the customer journeys. That is somewhat of a B2C term, often use the customer journey, but we're definitely seeing interest in that omnichannel customer journey in B2B as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Ian, I'm a little sad because we've run out at the end of our time, but thank you so much for chatting with me today. You know, between you and Kamyar, I can really see where we're rethinking the entire omni-channel sales and purchasing experience and relationship across online and offline touch points. So thank you so much for taking the time. It was really great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Katrina. It's great to see you, and you have a great evening.